Good afternoon. My name is Akisa Wandera. We begin with the tragic news from Kisii, where 3 students from St. Mary's Nyamagwa Girls Secondary School died and 68 others were injured after their school bus rolled. The accident happened in Nyambunde, about 5 kilometers away from the school. 5 students are in a serious condition. Form 3 students were said to be taking a ride in the new school bus when the bus driver lost control of the vehicle, which then rolled. Over 60 students are still being treated at the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital, which has appealed for blood donations. The students were enjoying an inaugural ride in the bus that was delivered to the school just yesterday. Right, pictures there from that accident. Let us now cross over to Kisii County for more information on this tragic news. And our reporter Fred Muturi now joins us on phone with more details. Many thanks for joining us on NewsDesk, Fred. What is the condition of the students who are in hospital?
Hello, Kisa, are you getting me?
Yes, we can get you, Fred.
The situation now is not bad at the moment because the doctors at the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital have termed the condition of the students as stable and they are improving. There were some around 13 students who were seriously injured, and the doctor at first had said that they were in danger, but they went to the theater. Some of them came out. And it's according to the Kisii County Medical Office of Health, Dr. Geoffrey Otomu. He has said that the 11 students who are in danger are out of danger, and some of the students may be discharged any moment now. But the moment of the death student remains at 3.
Now, Fred, are the doctors still calling for blood donations for those who are still in hospital?
They are still calling for more blood donation. I spoke to the Kisii Teaching and Referral Hospital CEO, Dr. Geoffrey Ondari, Dr. Enoch Ondari, who said that the students who are in the wards and more who are in the theater need blood. So actually the hospital is asking for more blood for the students, for their survival. Akisa.
Fred, this incident comes barely a month after we had another very tragic incident in Kisii where about 8 university students died. I would just want to imagine the kind of situation that is there. The parents of the students who are involved in that accident, just paint a picture for us on what kind of mood we have there in Kisii right now.
There is a very bad mood. People are confused. Many parents throng the hospital to try to find if any of their student or any of the child was involved in the accident. Police had a very rough time trying to control the crowd of many people who are coming there, bearing the fact that the accident also happened just in the same spot where another bus accident happened and students died and several others got injured. So the situation in Kisii is pathetic, but it's being contained by the doctors in the hospital, and more parents are coming in the hospital to try to find out if any of their children or their child was involved in the accident.
Has this by any chance caused mayhem at the hospital, given that doctors are treating a huge number of students and we also have parents coming in?
At first, the crowd was charging to try to catch a glimpse of the injured student. But reinforcement, the hospital had to call in reinforcement to contain the crowd that was charging towards the theater, towards the casualty area. But the situation was contained, and the hospital had to select one of the wards to basically to treat the students. So at the moment, the situation is contained. The students, the injured students, are continuing to get treated. There is no other bad situation in the hospitals.
Fred, have we had any official communication from the school administration?
We haven't had any official communication from the administration.
Yes.
But only we spoke to the hospital CEO, Dr. Enoch Ondari, who spoke to us, and the Kisii County Medical Office of Health, Dr. Geoffrey Otomu, and other leaders are coming in the hospital. We saw Ambassador Ongeri coming in. Also, as I'm speaking, the governor of Kisii County, James Ongwa, is also in the hospital, trying to console the parents, trying to see the situation at the moment.
All right. Thank you very much, Fred, for giving us that update. Fred is our reporter joining us from Kisii County, where there was a very tragic accident. 3 students from Nyamwaga Girls, St. Mary's Nyamwaga Girls, have died, 68 more injured, about 60 still receiving treatment in hospital. And as Fred says, a number of the leadership from the county are in hospital. Doctors are trying to treat the more than 60 girls who are still in hospital. We will continue keeping you up to date with that story. Now, the move by the Kenyan Electoral Commission, IEBC, to limit campaign funding and expenditure in the forthcoming general election has elicited mixed reactions from Kenyans. Let's listen to what some Kenyans in Kakamega County feel about the new rules.
The IEBC should cut the presidential cost campaign by the amount, in fact, go lower than that, because most of the parties, most of the presidential candidates are misusing the public funds.
But only wataweka measures za ku make sure hawa jamaa watafanya vile IBC imesema, ama it's just ni kusema tu alafu hawa jamaa spend more than even that. So if they can put measures, ni sawa.
That is not the right thing, because IBC first should concentrate on integrity issues with the presidential aspirants instead of limiting the funds on campaigns.
It could be a good decision so that we can limit the amount of money that's spent by the IBC, because this money which is actually coming from the common man, tax from the common person. So I believe that limit will help to a large extent, because I think people who may not have a lot of money but are eager to become maybe presidential candidates or governors, I think we'll have an opportunity.
Wapewe nafasi kulingana na uwezo wao, watumie pesa zao kulingana na uwezo wao.
Sioni ni maana iwe tu vile watu walikuwa nafanya zamani, lakini wasiweke vikwazo.
All right, and moving on, the leadership of the Kenyan National Assembly and the Senate are currently on a retreat in Mombasa County to discuss how to resolve the legislative conflicts that always arise between the two houses. National Assembly Speaker Justin Muturi proposed that the MPs discuss whether Kenyan courts can be used to resolve disputes between the Senate and the National Assembly.
The provision in Article 96(2) with regard to the Senate, and here is the Senate participates, participation, and when the other one is enacts. These ones could sometimes give us a lot of problems, so that we begin, as we leave this place, or as we meet with our colleagues, we are clear. The National Assembly enacts legislation in 95(3). The Senate participates, emphasis on the word participate, participates in the lawmaking function. It participates in the lawmaking function. These ones can be, they can become difficult to interpret and internalize, because on one hand, there could be the feeling that you are actually the one who is supposed to enact, while others are participants. Yeah? And then,
All right, and on that note, let's now join our reporter in Mombasa County, John Juma, for more information on this particular retreat of the two houses. Good afternoon, John Juma. Many thanks for joining us on NewsDesk. These two houses have been at loggerheads for the better part of the 11th Parliament, so to speak. Is there hope that they might finally come up with a solution on how to amicably move forward?
Thank you very much. First, let me make it clear that it's only the National Assembly leadership that is in this retreat.
Okay.
The Senate is not represented here, and that one poses another question, that when they discuss matters that involve two houses, what happens when the other house is not represented? They'll discuss some matters, they'll come with solutions. Then the other house may also go for a retreat, have their own solutions, which at the end of the day may conflict each other. And that answers that question, that it may be a movement in circles whereby no clear solution is found. But according to this two-day retreat here at Serena Beach, Mombasa, the leadership of the National Assembly is trying to look at various articles where there have been disputes and conflicts between legislative functions of the National Assembly and the Senate, and how to iron out those matters so as to have a smooth operation. Among those areas, they are trying to find out who originates some bills, which kind of bills, and who has a last statement on it. When the Supreme Court says that there should be a consultation, dialogue between the speakers of the two houses, in a situation whereby there is a deadlock, who has the veto power over the other? These are some of the matters that the leadership of the National Assembly, which comprises the Speaker, the Deputy, the committee heads in the Parliament, and departmental members in the National Assembly, will be trying to discuss and come up with an amicable solution. Of course, they've lined up a team of legal experts who will be taking them through various articles in the Constitution, what they mean and how they should be interpreted. Akisa.
That the Senate is not represented in this particular retreat, and they're discussing issues that have to do with both houses. How important is this discussion, given that we have probably a year to the general election, and seeing that one side is not quite represented in this particular retreat?
Yes, the retreat is very important, considering that this parliament must leave a legacy as the first parliament to have this kind of bicameral approach in the House. But the fact that we've been seeing disputes here and there, and dialogue or consultation may not be the solution every time. There must be some legal framework which explains explicitly that when there is such a confrontation, then this is the direction. So the retreat is important, but the problem is that the other house is not in this kind of retreat, and that one, maybe a suggestion will be that next retreat the two houses should be together, so that they iron out the conflicting articles, which some say that are ambiguous in nature.
All right, thank you very much for that. John Juma is our reporter joining us from Mombasa County, of course, with an update there on the retreat where members of parliament are attending, on how to resolve the issues that have been arising between the National Assembly and the Senate. Now, the Kenyan cabinet has approved a plan for the development and commercialization of crude oil. A cabinet meeting last evening resolved that production will start at 2,000 to 4,000 barrels per day, which will be initially transported to Mombasa for refining. For this to happen, the Eldoret-Lokichar Road is being upgraded at a cost of 3.2 billion Kenya shillings. Also to be replaced under this plan is the Kainuk Bridge, to allow for larger and heavier trucks to transport the crude oil. It is envisaged that the crude oil will then be transported by rail and road from Eldoret to Mombasa. The first crude oil in Kenya will be refined at the Kenya Petroleum Refinery in Mombasa, which has now been fully acquired by the government through the Kenya Pipeline Company. The cabinet also approved the development of the Lokichar to Lamu crude pipeline, which will be the main evacuation and transportation route for the crude oil from Kenya in the future. To put all this into perspective now, we're joined in studio by the chairman of the Petroleum Institute of East Africa, Powell Maimba, to just help us understand understand what exactly does this mean for Kenyans and its economy. Many thanks for coming into NewsDesk.
Karibu.
Thank you for making time for us. And this approval, of course, has brought a lot of excitement that finally this is happening.
Yes.
But how soon is this happening?
Well, first I'd like to pass my condolences to the families of the children that have passed on with the road accident, and that should not happen. Coming to the issue of the oil production, the government is planning to start next year in June. As soon as the process starts, we should start seeing the activities taking place. Now, just a point of correction, the crude will not be refined in Mombasa. It will be re-exported. So the refinery is not going to restart up for processing. The whole crude that will be produced at the initial phase will be exported.
What are these activities that we expect to be seeing, of course, in the run-up to us finally producing this oil?
Yeah, look, there are a number of activities. The government has come with two plans, which makes sense. The first one is to test the production of crude and use the system into Mombasa. And that's the first test. The second one is the full production, which is going to take the crude through the pipeline to Lamu. As that process develops, the government wants to test this side of the logistic equation. Now, the activities that will happen in between is already noted about the road construction, the rail upgrade, the tankers, offloading facilities in Mombasa. Those activities will take place between now and June next year. As soon as those logistical activities are done, then the test of running the crude down to Mombasa starts. Yes.
Any other ordinary Kenyan watching and probably getting news that the cabinet has approved this process,
Yes.
One of the questions that they ask themselves is, especially for motorists, are we now going to pay less for oil? How long would it take before Kenyans start reaping from what is in their country?
Yes. Yeah,
so to
look,
speak?
I wouldn't say that when it starts next year, the palm prices will go down. Already, the country enjoying the best palm prices by importation. The issue of crude production and start moving it to Mombasa has nothing to do with the palm price. It is everything to do with the future economic change for Kenya. And this process is going to realign the country to different levels, not only for the palm price or the cost of fuel coming down, is basically another revenue source for the country. Currently, the country relies on tea, coffee, flowers, but this will be another one which will help the country generate revenue.
How well is this expected to play out?
Well, the estimate is that the country should be able to generate at its peak about $9 billion per annum in income from exporting the oil. And that changes the whole landscape of this country. The other activity that will come through, for example, the roads are being done, which could have not been done before.
Yes.
Transport system, you have trucks. The transporters will find work and drivers. Then the rail system appears again, then you have got SGR on the other side. So there are a lot of ancillary benefits to the country by virtue of starting this process.
So how do we position ourselves? We're not the only ones who are thinking about this. Uganda is going
Yes.
alone as well.
Yes.
Our neighbors,
Yes.
rest of our neighbors are going alone. How do we position ourselves as Kenya, of course, to emerge top
Yes,
in this particular field?
Well, that's why the cabinet has approved the two-phase approach. So Uganda is still struggling to start. If you remember, Uganda discovered its oil a few years back, and Kenya followed. The difference is Kenya wants to start executing the production process through whichever means. Most of the guys will come to you, or the people may come with the opinion that this is not going to work, or it's going to cost the country a lot of money. How soon is it going to happen? But the reality is the system is going to start. Once that system starts, it's very difficult to stop it. And as you said, we are going to be ahead of Uganda by virtue of starting this process. So when you're ahead of Uganda, Uganda will start learning from us. Whatever we do is going to be a lesson to them, and we'll be ahead of the game. So the cabinet approval yesterday of the two approach is actually basically putting Kenya into the front of oil production compared to Uganda, who are still trying to think about how are they going to take the crude.
And what exactly does this mean for the other East African region countries? How will this impact them?
Well, Kenya is a key player to the East African region, and the activities that will happen in Kenya economically will start impacting countries like Southern Sudan, Rwanda, Burundi, including Uganda itself. So you find out that as a region, as East Africa, it becomes more and more attractive. Possibly it's going to also facilitate the Ugandan activities of building a new refinery. And a lot of people say it can be done. Basically what's coming out here that it can be done, and if Kenya can do it, why can't we do it? So East Africa will start aligning itself into the equation of oil production and export.
Paul, when we talk about 2,000 to 4,000 barrels, production of 2,000 to 4,000 barrels a day, kindly just to break it down for us, for the viewer at home, what exactly does this mean?
Well, it's not a significant volume. 2,000, 4,000 barrels per day is very little, if you look at the world scale. There are countries producing 200,000, 300,000 to a million barrels per day. So our equation of 2,000 to 4,000 is it's a drop in a huge ocean. Okay, so if you take that scale, it's very small. However, if you look at the intent, what I look mostly when we sit as PIA is what's the intention of the government. Because the government's role is to create a condition whereby it encourages other investors participate into the equation. So the 2,000, 4,000 is not significant. It may not change much in terms of the economic activities. But as that process starts, it starts building on a bigger scale activities.
Right, finally, just to quickly, we have the issue of the oil cost. Nigeria is among the biggest producers, but they're not enjoying the resources they have. How do we ensure that this so-called oil cost does not catch up with us?
Well, oil cost comes with a background, how you start the whole thing. Oil is natural resource. It comes from the communities. And sometimes if you look at the Nigerian scenario is that the big people or the government and the other guys came through the process and got the oil and leave the people around that area poor. And therefore it creates unnecessary tension and attacks. The difference with the Kenya process is there's already a process of engaging the communities around Turkana and around the route which the oil is going to pass. Through that process of engagement, and currently the government has passed the bill on the Energy Act and oil exploration, all that process helps engage the communities in the societies and prevent the possible tension. So in Kenya's scenario, I don't see things to get out of control. Look, when it happened in Nigeria and others, there are many other countries that produce oil, but nothing happened. Saudi Arabia is one of it, there's no war. America produces oil, there's no war. It's just a few countries in Africa that are associated with that. Use that as a general equation.
Well, I hope we get it right.
Yeah, we'll get it right.
Okay, thank you very much, Paul, for coming in and just helping us understand what this really means. A lot of excitement from this news. Paul Maimba is the chairperson of the Petroleum Institute. Now, in a bid to improve security and restore the dignity of Kiambu's Thika town, Thika police last night carried out an operation to flush out twilight girls conducting business in the town center. Thika Division OCPD Erastus Muthamia said the twilight girls have been working in cahoots with criminal gangs who have been robbing Thika residents. Muthamia said the operation will continue until the streets are free of commercial sex workers. 26 were arrested and later booked.
Jana tumefaulu kukamata, tumekuwa na shida na twilight girls within Thika town, na ni kama tumegundua tu ya kwamba ni biashara ambayo inaungana na mikora hapa within the town, na saa yote iko you and cry. Jana tumefanya soap na tumeweza kufaulu kukamata hawa twilight girls ya 26 namba na this morning wanaenda kotini. Now we shall continue with the operation, sababu tumegundua ya kwamba hao ndio wanaungana na vijana wengine, so wanaanza kuibia wananchi ambaye hawajui what is going on.
From Thika, let's head over to Garissa County, where the County Commissioner James Kianda has cautioned the security officials against divulging information passed on to them on suspected criminals by Wananchi, saying it widens the gap of mistrust and locals. Kianda was addressing the press at the Garissa Government Guest House after he officially opened a one-day workshop for security personnel in the Nyumba Kumi initiative.
Tumeweza kulichukulia kwa maana sana. Tumeweka vikundi tofauti katika kila kijiji ambazo zinashughulikia mambo ya usalama. Kwa hivyo mafunzo ya leo ambayo yanafanywa na kipengele kimoja katika ofisi yetu kuu ya Ministry of Interior and National Security ambayo inahusika na mambo ya mwananchi kuhusika na usalama, tumeweza kuwaleta hawa pamoja ili tuweze kuwapatia mafunzo ni vipi wanaweza kuendelea kutilia mkazo na kutia nguvu hizi vikundi vya kiusalama. Tumekuwa na changamoto hapa katika Garissa County wakati uliopita ambazo zinahusiana na mambo ya terrorism ama ugaidi, ambao tunajua ni jambo ambalo ni changamoto liko hapa, niliko katika kila sehemu ya dunia, na kwa sababu ya kuona ya kwamba mwananchi ndiye ako na habari na ndiye anaweza kujua ni nini hata cha siri kinachotendeka kule mashinani. Mambo yanayohusiana na Nyumba Kumi yameweza kutusaidia sana katika kupambana na wahalifu ambao wanajihusisha na mambo ya